Welcome back to the Duel Alliance Podcast with your hosts Alicia Solomon and Megan Hines, where every week we talk the challenge. And this week we're back with our favorite, Grant, to talk about the variants in Michelle and Josh, because they are one and the same, and the madness that they got into these past two episodes.
Thank you, Grant, for coming back. We missed last week, so we're back with a double episode, and we had to bring back Grant because I feel like Grant has a good perspective on these shows, and because he's watched some of these other shows, he has a good thought process on how some of these people are in their gameplay. So thank you, Grant, for coming.
Of course. I love it when y'all always invite me because I'm always coming.
We appreciate that. So we're gonna start off with episode 12. We're just gonna go through some of our quick favorite moments from that episode. Off top of the show, we had the girls talking about the vote and Michelle flipping on them, and then Tori walks in, and they apologize immediately to her, and I'm like, yeah, go ahead and apologize. I get it, but y'all did not need to apologize to that woman.
At all. Like, shoot. It's a game. It's a game. And I'm going to throw you in every chance I can. Because, like, granted, I think the three of them, I genuinely think the three of them can beat her. Especially if it comes to something physical, I think all three of them can beat her. But she's a strong, I hate saying that about Tori, but she is essentially a strong competitor. It took everything in me to say that. But she gotta go. And she just won. And she just won. Like, you got to go. Like, I'm gonna try my best to make sure you in that elimination every single chance. She might come out of a couple of them, but one of them times you gonna end up losing, as we saw with Chick later on. But stop apologizing for making moves. And you see who wasn't in there apologizing.
Michaela. Right. Well, Michaela's going to stand on whatever she does at any point in time. Now, I feel like because Desi and Chanel are newer to the game, like they're trying to stick with their alliance, but also stand on whatever they say and make deals with other people on the other side. And like I said earlier, like I feel like Desi is one of those people who is so hard pressed to ensure that her integrity is intact, and she doesn't realize that she can separate her real life integrity and not that being kind of diminished in a game. Because at the end of the day, you're trying to win $250,000. If Tori was right next to you, she would step over you, AI style, over Toronto. Like, I don't feel like she would have any remorse doing it to Desi or Chanel when it comes down to it. So I feel like Desi needs to take that same mental aspect of it and just keep it pushing. Like, it's okay. Like, you had a little mix up. It didn't go as planned. It kind of backfired. Everything's still okay.
Yeah, because I was like, oh. And I thought people talk on Twitter like, oh, why are they crying to Tori? Hey, like you said, Desi wears her heart on her sleeve at times too, and that is not a detriment. It's just how she is. But like I said, you don't gotta be apologize to that woman. That woman is not gonna care about you. She just focused on herself and only herself. And that's it.
Yep. Yep. Tori is she just wants to make sure that her bases are covered anytime she comes back, which will be every time they call her. Tori, this is her life. So she wants to make sure that her ducks are on the line. Because if you cross her one time, if she sees you next season, she gonna expect you to do it again. And she's gonna try and get you out. So that's the crutch of having a game being played with somebody who has made this their career. So
yeah,
it is what it is.
Do y'all have any other favorite moments before I go to my favorite moment in the daily?
I just think Michaela versus Michelle, like that was just eating it up for me, because I have complained about Michelle being part of, I wouldn't say Strong Girl Alliance. I'm just the Black girls who have an alliance on the show. I was not a fan of Michelle being dragged on with them because I feel like at any point in time, Michelle would have flipped on them. And what was the first thing she did when she got a chance? She flipped on them. So I already was not feeling her because this bitch is sporadic. We've seen her go crazy on Laurel. We've seen her do all kind of sort of things. Okay. This girl is not mentally intact the way that I think that she is. So for me, I would have preferred her to never been a part of that alliance. But when Michaela sat down and was eating her food, literally eating her food, double time. She was eating her food and she was eating Michelle for dessert. Listen, Michelle could not keep up. And I feel like Michelle should have just never said anything to begin with because she tried to come in at Michaela and was like, well, what did you say? Like, what are you talking about? And Michaela just clocked her in front of everyone and was like, this is your game plan. This is what you've been plotting this whole time. Now you've been called out. And what are you going to do? And Michelle's trying to backpedal and backpedal and backpedal, and she couldn't backpedal anymore. Like, listen, don't try it with Michaela. One thing I would say is that Michaela has shown this season she is not the 1, 2, 3, or the 4. If you come at Michaela, she's going to stand firm on whatever she is saying, however she feels, whatever it is, she's going to stand tall. And I can only respect it. Michelle, sorry for you, sister. Like, see you later.
That's it. That's my favorite too. And to piggyback off of that, anybody that should know exactly what you just said. She ain't the 1, 2, or 3. She was over there checking them, smooth checking them on Survivor. She got that infamous scene. I know y'all seen her gift with the mug.
Yes.
That if you ain't ever seen it, go watch that Tribal Council. She got that motherfucker together. So, and Michelle should know that more than anybody because she's from Survivor, and I know she's seen that season.
My favorite moment from that fight, though, it was like Michelle and Michaela just knew Michelle was getting hot because she was like, "Your cheeks are getting pink." It's like, and they were.
That was the funny part. I cannot remember what it was. That was the part that had me weak.
Your cheeks are getting pink. We know you about to go a little bit crazy and cuckoo right now. Everybody was like, "Oh, Michelle's just digging her grave." I love to see it. I'm like, I do too. Because it was a long time coming for Michelle to get bought out. And I was just glad it had to be Michaela just to let her know, smooth, and just do it like that. I enjoyed that moment. And also when she said be blessed when Michelle walked out, I'm like, that's me. I will tell my be blessed and leave me alone.
Yep.
Don't come back to me and walk away. I'm like, and Michelle had something to say afterwards. I'm like, just leave. There's a door. Let's leave. So that was a good moment. I will say in the daily, that Michaela actually had a good hand in helping Chris and Debbie win. She figured out there was a long tunnel that had 3 different areas of the bags. And there's 8 puzzle pieces they need to get. She finds it. Then when she goes back, she sees Bananas, and he ends up going down that same hall. And she's like, "Oh, is there more?" She's like, "No." She's like, "I'm not telling that man that there's more. I'm not helping you." They proceed to go back out. She goes gets the rest of her little bags for the puzzle pieces. Goes back out, and then Desi actually tells Chris, because Michaela told Desi, we didn't see it, but Desi told Chris, "Hey, there's 8 pieces." Then 3 kept it tight-lipped and locked in. And to the right point, they got all of their pieces all one set together because Chris at that point had only 5 pieces. And he was already starting to build up his puzzle. He needed 3 more pieces, obviously. Now, they get those last 3 pieces and they go ham in finishing it. And they're like, "Oh, it's 8 pieces." We see the veterans in Tori, Bananas, Josh, Fessy, and Corey like, "Oh shit, it's 8. They all ran back to go find those 8. All while they're gone, Desi, Michaela, and Chris are trying to figure out their puzzles. And lo and behold, Desi and Chris end up winning. And I just love that they really did just flip the script on Bananas. I'm like, this is good. I'm like, I want to see her Michaela back again because I'm like, this is what I like in a challenger. Like, you gonna flip the script on an OG innocence, and I'm like, make him look like a fool. I love it because he was like, oh, he's been having like a weird little thing this week, not only like on the show this week, but like also on House of Villains. But you ain't that slick at this point in your career, so that's that.
You had to mention House of Villains. That quick comment. That show is gonna be fire. But I agree because like I said, Michaela played that game on them. Like, you let a girl who's only played 2 seasons now, like, she's in the second season, but you let her play y'all in a game that y'all play for your everyday job. Like, she played y'all good.
I would say, however, the Chris arc and me rooting for him now is insane. Okay, I just want to make this clear because Megan, as you well know, Chris is at the bottom of my list of a shoe. I would never pick him in any time, day, shape, or form in any fashion. But I feel like Chris has redeemed himself so much where it's like, damn, because I don't want this other vet alliance to take over and like they normally do and win, and you're the last man standing, and you have been able to maneuver all the situations that have come at you. Whenever he wins, I'm like, yes, I'm rooting for you because you are the chosen one. You are the chosen one here, brother. Like, you are the one that can flip this whole alliance upside down and possibly give us some new energy and blood in terms of somebody else winning and taking over, because it's been the same old same. But I think that moment with Desi and Chris when they won and they were hugging each other and Desi was crying, and I just think that whole moment, I was like, damn, like, these are the two people that I would want to see win, either Michaela win or Chanel even. I'll sprinkle her in, but like, these are the people that I would prefer to see win this season rather than the 5 or other people that we have on the other side.
Yeah,
100%. And I remember. Go ahead.
No, because like Alicia's been going in on Chris from the jump. He's weird. I feel like he's a good weird that fits for the show. Like, we both didn't watch Survivor. We don't watch Survivor, so we didn't know how Chris was on there, and obviously like him bringing his arc from that on this show. We're like, okay, this is weird. And like, he's playing weird to start, but there's a method to the madness, and he can kind of back it up. And like we've seen these past eliminations. So I'm like, as long as he keeps coming back, that's a win for us. Because we don't like those vets. The only likable one of that group is actually Corey. But he's associated by proxy. So as long as Chris comes back and he goes at them other 4, I'm perfectly fine. Corey's going to get hit by proxy. I'm so sorry, but that's that.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, because I remember I think it was the first time I came on this season. I was saying the same thing because I don't think I watched the season though. I don't think I watched Chris's season. His season might have been one of the seasons I did not watch, but I didn't like him either at the beginning of the season. But watching him go in after each elimination every single time, and coming out and winning, and then everybody coming for him, and he goes in there and wins again, you can't help but want to root for him. Like, and then you get down to the wire where you got Josh, you got Fessy, you got Bananas. All 3 of them niggas are whack. So it's like, at the end of the day, I'm rooting for Corey, but if Corey don't get it, Chris got to get it. So it's like, you can't help but root for him. He's literally had the best rookie season. I would say it's better than Horacio's season, if you ask me.
Oh, that is tea.
Horacio, he's getting thrown in there.
He got helped on that first
Horacio
one.
was not winning.
It might be up there because Chris has been winning dailies as well now. Like, I feel like he's added that to his game where Horacio, was still like in the middle of the pack.
He didn't win on dailies.
He didn't win. But in terms of eliminations, like, Chris won 3 in a row. He won 4 total. Like, I don't think that's probably ever been done, like, in terms of just having back-to-back wins in one season, and then also literally getting jumped. Like, the last second to last episode that we were on,
Yeah.
literally got jumped, came back, and still won against these people. Like, I just feel Chris has, I don't know, come out on the other side, and I'm just like, damn, brother, I hope you get to the final, and I hope you win, because I feel like at this point, even though he lied, he did all that nonsense early in the season and caused all that confusion, he's still, I don't know. It's something about that underdog that I'm just like, I'm going to root for you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I will
he
say,
fought.
yeah, I will say, when they chose who were going to go in, Desi and Chris, they chose Michelle and Josh, the variants of one another. Josh had a conversation with Bessie and Corey. He was like, I'm going to knock his head in about Chris because he wanted Chris out. Babes, you are not about to beat that man in anything. So I don't know why you're talking so big for your britches right now. I really don't. I'm like, you're of all people that are still here, you still don't have a chance against none of them men. Probably Bananas, because that man is old. But you say you want to knock Chris's head off? You're delusional.
Josh, you throw drinks. You are the only grown man that I know that throws drinks. Like, who is scared of you? Who is scared of you? That man irritates my soul. I think I tweeted something about that too last week when he said it. I'm like, who the fuck is scared? Bashing whose head in? Who are you? And then you are what? Any like 1 in 4 in eliminations or some shit? Yeah. You don't. Everybody knows once you get in the eliminations, you out of here. Like there's no get. And I think the one that he won was the one with Amanda, right? You wasn't by yourself. And Chris, like back to Chris, what you were saying, Chris. The difference between him and Horacio, I remember like half of Horacio's wins, the whole like cast was helping them win. Chris ain't had no help. None of them eliminations. They was cheating for other people and still sending them home. So. He's top dog.
Because that was the moment I decided to get off my chest. So I remember he said that, and I'm just like, I know this MF just not to say that. Like that is illusion to its fullest. Because like I said, of the guys that are still standing, you have no chance. You have a fighting chance against Bananas because that man is old, like I said. But against them other three, you're washed. I'm sorry to say, but you're washed.
Not a shot in hell.
So yeah, Cassie left last episode. Oh no, Michelle left last episode. Cassie got the hopper. That was a doozy. Because Cassie washed Michelle, and that was it.
I don't know about Cassidy. Like there's sometimes where I feel like I can like her. But then I'm like, something about her I just can't get with. I can't pinpoint it. But it's just
for me with Cassidy, I think it's her victim card that she always tries to play. And it's like, these people think I'm weak and I have to show this and I have to, prove myself. And to Cassidy's credit, she has gone in and won multiple eliminations up to this point. So no credit is taken away from you. But I feel like you're still the weakest person. Like, no matter how much you win, no matter how much you come back, you're still at the bottom of the totem pole in terms of rankings in the house. So I just feel like she keeps taking that personal and creating narratives around it and trying to make herself the victim and woe is me and I got to do X, Y, and Z. And it's like, we actually don't care if you're here or not. I'm sorry to say, but you could pack your bags today and we wouldn't like blink an eye. Like it's so ridiculous with Cassidy to the point where it's irritating to watch because she comes with the same thing every single week. And it's like, come up with something new, like create another storyline or just get off my screen. I just feel like she has nothing to give. She gives the same thing over and over and it's very tiring and it's only been one season. Like, girl, please.
I feel like her issue too is like she never adjusted. Like after her like failure to kind of go after Wes and like that little weird back and forth, she never adjusted. Like she was always going to be at the end of that Survivor Girl Alliance. She never like branched out. She was once she did that move early in the game and was by proxy like hit by Wes. No one really cared to like really work with her. So I'm like, at this point, you're not adjusting to the game anymore, and you're not giving people anything to work with. You're going to be on an island. So you can't just be always every week, oh, they don't want to see me because they think I'm weak. Babes, no, you're not giving them anything of value. And that's what the issue is.
That is true. Because it's like, how many more times can you sit here and keep trying to play that? Like, at this point, you need to figure out how to play the game. And yeah, they're going to throw you in a million times, but if you're not trying to make connections, if you're not trying to make something shake, then they're going to keep throwing you in. And you can't be mad about it.
Like, I leave of Chris when he made his kerfuffle with the Survivor girls. He came back and regrouped. He rebuilt his relationship with them. And they're in a good spot. Like, Daddy was like, I know, like, you're on the outskirts. I feel a little bit off after the Tory thing, but I'm going to work with you. You need an ally? I got you. Nobody did that for Cassidy. And nobody cared.
And Desi was smart because Desi did that. I want to say she did that after she realized that's how you know Desi's smart. She knew how to pivot when it came time to pivot, and she ended up going back and kind of like rewatering that connection that she had with Chris. And now you see it's a benefit to her and Michaela, and essentially Chanel too. So it's like, why would I not do sending everybody home? And you one person that don't have nobody, and I know for a fact if I at least show you some type of attention, I know you're gonna have my back. I know you're not gonna say my name, and we're coming down to the wire where it's not too many people here, and if you're not gonna say my name, it could benefit me in the end of the game. Cassidy don't realize that though.
Yeah. And with that, Michelle was out. Good riddance to her. We'll see her in about 2 weeks on the Challenge 39 Battle for a New Champion. But in episode 13, I'm just going to nothing with of substance before the daily. Josh just said was just got to get emotional about his family and his reasons why for playing in his game. While he was saying that, and he was like, "Oh, I'm trying to give money to my family." I know he won his season Big Brother years ago. I just want to know, where did some of that money even go to? Because you won a big pot. And you're crying to us like, I want to get this money and use it for my family. Give it to them. Where did your 500K go? Where did a couple of it go? That's what I want to know. Because you're crying to us about a pot getting 250K on this season. Where's that? How? I just want to know.
I'm glad you said it because I was thinking about that too last night when I was watching the episode when he was talking about it. I'm trying to get them to give them money so they can stop working and whatever. I'm like, you won 500K like 5 years ago. Did you blow through all that money? And not only that, you've been on this show consistently. You should have a decent appearance check. That alone, because you've done so many seasons, so you should be racking up some. So what are you doing? Are you not giving them any money? Are you not giving them a trust fund? You're not putting some money to the side for them? It's just like, I don't understand it because you won $500,000.
I like taxes. Like, bro, I get it, but like, come on now, be serious.
Yeah, I didn't even remember that he won his season, so I didn't even like think about how if he had money prior to it, because it really was like he was destitute and his family is destitute and they are in the slums, and he got to get it out the mud because it's the last man standing, and they got to eat or else it just gave very much like destitution. And I was just like, okay, he's been on the show for a little while. Like you said, he is getting appearance fees, not only on the show, but other things that you do outside of the show. I'm sure you do hostings. I'm sure you do other gigs that is attached to the show. And it may sustain your lifestyle, and you could probably give your parents or whoever it is a little bit of money. But at the end of the day, I just feel like the sob story just doesn't add up with Josh. And I get it. Everyone has their own motives and they need something to create a storyline in terms of why he's doing it and his motivation. But that doesn't excuse this thick-tongued fool to go around crying the way that he does and acting the way he does. Like it doesn't make sense
at all. Cause I'm like, I'm tired as well as at this point. Like, I get it. This is your first time being so close to a final. I don't even think you're even gonna make it at this point, to be honest. Obviously, he did it, but that's the farthest you're gonna get. Like, your social game at times is only gonna get you so far, and it only got him this far. So,
And a lot of these people are just stupid, period. Because it's like, if you get some money, I always say this: you can throw me $200K. I'm going to meet with a financial advisor to find a way to flip that money and get some more. So I'm going to try and invest in something. These people on the show, they don't think like that. It's just like, that's why you don't have the money that you had then, because you don't blew it already and you didn't get anything off of it. Like, there's reasons why people have investment accounts. Like, start thinking. And if you don't think that way, go meet with a financial advisor. They'll help you start thinking that way. Find ways to get you some more money.
Yeah. But and then Chanel did say like she felt like she had imposter syndrome from her time on Survivor to like now and how she's been performing. And I'm like, I get it. And people have been like really like on Chanel a lot, especially with the Cassie stuff going on. I'm like, Chanel has played a solid social game. I give her the credit.
Mm-hmm.
And even though she hasn't been performing that well in challenges, she's still set. Like, she's in a solid alliance, and she's still making some connections. I'm like, can y'all just shut up with this Cassie versus Chanel stuff? I get it. They have, like, this little beef going on the show, but I'm like, listen, at this point, I get Cassie's been in eliminations. But she hasn't proven herself in, like, actual dailies either. So they're one and the same at this point.
Chanel's not even a bad, and that's the thing too. Chanel might not have won any dailies yet, but she's not a bad competitor at all. It's just like sometimes it works, sometimes it don't.
Yeah, I think my thing with Chanel is like she always wants to prove something and she just always misses the mark. And not to her detriment, like to make it seem like it's all her fault and blah blah blah. But I really think that she just hadn't shown herself up to that point. And I feel like Cassidy just felt like she felt so much better than Chanel because she's won eliminations. And it's just like, you know, the point is that you've gone down there and she hasn't, because she's created connections with other people and you just haven't. And so I think that's the difference with Cassidy and Chanel. But I think this episode, it kind of cleared all of that nonsense out with Cassidy versus Chanel and kind of just set the record straight in, you know, who is like the victor and who is coming out on top over these two. Because after that whole speech that Cassidy had made a couple eliminations back, and Chanel was like, oh, girl, like, I'm going to clock you at any point in time. I was like, yes, Chanel, I'm here for it, because she does need to be put in her place. And I'm glad that she was the one to do that.
Yeah. We'll get to the elimination later on. But before that, they had the daily challenge again as well. And this was another challenge that Michaela actually won, but was fueled by her fear of heights. I'm like, she did it.
Darrell 2.0, but I want to say, Darrell, take notes. Like, Michaela clears at any time. And I think Johnny said it best. Like, Michaela is an anomaly, because for someone who is so scared and so frightened of doing these challenges with heights, she always comes out on top. She clears it every single time. And I think Michaela just has to get over that fear in her mind first. But like, she can do anything she wants to. Like, it's clear as day. When Michaela has a heights challenge, she just comes up on top and always succeeds. And I'm just like, Darrell, if Michaela can do it, you can do it too, brother. I mean, I am just rooting for one day Darrell to come back on this damn show and just do well on the heights challenge. Not even just chicken out, because you know Darrell at any second he's like, nah, man, I got kids. I ain't gonna do this. And it's like, damn, did you even try? But Michaela will have a moment, cry, get herself together, and then just clear it out.
Literally. I echo that completely. And I'm going to throw Naya in that too.
I'm going to throw Chauncey in that too, because Chauncey chickened out too. Everybody take notes. How about that? Because we've had a lot of people come to the show and be scared of heights. But I'm like, fear is it's not a state of mind. Just get out and just get it done. And that's what she did.
It's just crazy though how she does end up finishing it. Because I sit here, because when you said it too, I was sitting there thinking too, I'm like, the 2 heights over water challenges that she was crying on, she ended up winning them both. And it's like, that's crazy, because we ain't never seen that happen on the show before. Somebody that is scared shitless of heights and ends up winning the heights challenge twice. I'm like, hey, that's true.
Yeah. Also, I wanted to point out that we almost had people falling in that challenge too. Josh, he didn't want to be the first guy out, but he was like almost teetering on that beam. At one point, Bananas almost slipped on that beam. He almost slipped like towards the end, and I'm like, if you slipped, sir, I would have came on here laughing, rejoicing, because that would have been hilarious. But I will say that Chris was really beasting up on that ladder, and it was really the guy that was neck and neck between him and Fessy for that daily. And I'm like, who do I want to see win? For my narrative, I want to see Chris win. For just how this goes, probably just for an ego boost for Fessy. I don't know. But I was like, if Chris wins, I'm good. None of my favorites will be endangered.
Exactly.
I mean, at this point, because they knew that it was the last elimination before the final, I was rooting more for Chris just because that would make it easier for people to be safe, like Desi and Chanel, to move forward into the final. So that's honestly who I was rooting for at that point. And I do understand Fessy and his, I don't know, I feel like Fessy has shown a little bit of change this season. Whether it's going to continue on to the other seasons that he comes on the show is up to us to see. But I do like Fessy this season. I feel like he has just had more of like a mental aspect of trying to get to the final and actually do something in the final, rather than just be like, Iron Man and I'm better than everyone and I'm big and strong. It's like, all right, enough. What can you actually do to win a final? And I feel like Fessy is on that type of time this time around, which I can respect, but I'm going to always root for Chris at this point.
Yeah, because Fessy, I feel like Fessy too, to back that up, he has not been on my nerves either. And shoot, Megan, I know you know, I'm notorious for being a Fessy hater. Like every season, I hate him because I feel like he gets on the show, and I feel like on these previous seasons, it's like you can tell he's trying to be this and be that. And I think it's partly in due to the fans. Like everybody talking about how boring he is. I feel like he tries to get on the show and try to be entertaining. But this season, I feel like he's just genuinely being himself. He's not focusing on trying to be something for camera time. And you can tell he's actually like trying his best to actually do something this season. It's just like, I can respect that. That's why I agree with you. Like he has been pretty tolerable this season. He has not gotten on my nerves not one time this entire season. So
he got on my nerves He did get on my nerves on Twitter today. If he got on Twitter and did them Twitter fingers, asking questions and posing thoughts, and I'm like, sir, I'm gonna stop you right there. I'm not about to do this to you. I'm about 5 minutes from muting you because you better not. You not you. He tweeted about the top men players for their records and the amount of seasons that he did, like 5. Like it was Jordan, Alton, and him for like their accolades within like 5 seasons. That's a good group. I'm like, sir, you haven't won nothing. Them two won stuff.
Right. True.
So I'm confused. That's the one thing. Like he's been great on this show so far, but online, I'm like, sir, Be quiet. That's it.
Right.
But other than that, he still lost this daily. He lost by 3 seconds. He was like, "Oh, since Chris was like almost slipped on that ladder, I got time on him." Babes, you lost by 3 seconds. I'm so sorry to tell you that. He almost slipped, but he still beat you. So that's that. So yeah, that was that on the daily challenge. But Fessy was anticipating a hall brawl, talking to Josh, and he was like giving Josh tips, and I'm like, this is serendipitous because we saw what happened at the end of the episode.
Right. And that's what I was hoping. I was like, yes, let's just build it up to where Josh ends up thinking that he's safe and scotch free, and then you see what happens.
Yeah. Michaela and Chris, they chose Cassie and Fessy as their picks for this double elimination. I didn't even mention that this was initially going to be a double elimination week last week for the final. So obviously, Fessy and Cassie are going to go into elimination this week. And Chris was excited to get his payback on Fessy because Fessy has said his name twice every time he's been in power. So nice little payback to Fessy by Chris. And then the next moment that kind of got me heated, I knew it was going to blow over afterwards. Josh and Bananas had a conversation, and they're like, "Oh, we're not going to vote for each other." Josh's like, "Oh, I'm put on my family's name. I'm not going to say your name." And he was contemplating voting for either Bananas or Corey. Tori is also contemplating voting for Bananas or Josh. And it's just a following of events. Fessy was annoyed at Josh for even thinking about voting for Corey and not Bananas. And he's like, Fessy was like, if you vote for Corey, and that's who's also my friend, I may have to reevaluate our friendship a little bit after this.
And honestly, not even that. Just like Corey alone, like you look at Corey and you look at Bananas. If you know that the final is very much likely the next week, Corey has been in a lot of finals, but has he won? No. Bananas has been in a million finals and has won, I want to say 6 or 7 of these bitches. The answer choice should not be that hard. And for him to be sitting there crying about it, like, what? What? Banana should have been the only answer in your head. Like, I'm putting him in to hope that you beat the shit out of him and send his ass into retirement so he don't come back.
The same treatment he did to Wes a few weeks ago, he should have easily did to Bananas this week. And I really could not for the life of me understand why he decided to sit down and give these buku tears to Bananas the whole episode. Like, I just felt like it was continuing on and on and on after he was contemplating it, then had a conversation with Fessy, then had a conversation with Tori, had another conversation with Bananas, and he just kept digging his own grave emotionally and just making himself a nut job on the show. Like, it was honestly insane to watch how he just unraveled. And when he literally told Bananas, like, I'll put this on my grandfather in heaven, I pray to God that man's not in heaven to strike him down when he sees this, because why would you even say such a thing like this? Like, it was really insane for me for him to even say these things. And then you have Tori on the other end, who in his face is telling him, hey, I'm contemplating on putting you in, and I'm having a hard time with this too. You don't see Tori crying. I really just was at a loss for words. And Tori is notoriously known for putting other people in front of herself. Like, she did the last season she was on USA, she was like, fuck you, Danny. I want to put myself in. Like, she didn't even care at her game at that point. So you already know how Tori gets down. So the fact that she was even like, listen, at this point, I'm going to have to make a tough decision and go with either Josh or Corey and be honest about it. It's like, okay, this is what we talk about when we say, once you have all of these alliances and have to make a decision at the end of the season and where you want to go, you're going to have to make some tough decisions. And I don't know why it was so tough it's like, what bananas eat don't make you shit, bro. Like, it shouldn't be that hard for you to even pick him. And so for me, I like mentally, I'm like, are you with us, Josh? Like, are you with us? Because it's not
No.
adding up. It's really not adding up.
It's crazy. And I loved Bananas laughing at him the whole like Bananas was not going for none of them tears either. He was like, dude, like, get out of my face. And then what did he say? He said in the I'm literally skipping to the end, but that confessional at the end when he was like, hope to see you never. I was
yeah. He ate him up.
Because
he was just
so
like,
stupid.
yeah, you literally did all of that for what? Like, at this point, if you cross me, that's it. Like, you're done. And I just respect it because Bananas is right.
Me
like,
too.
Whatever side you on, stay on that side. Like,
Stay
stand
on
on
that
it.
side.
Don't come back around and be like, oh, I'm sorry, or I'm this, or I'm that, because you can't go on Bananas back in the final and try to get a win off of him. Like, you have to go on your own. So stand on what you did, or just keep it moving. And I feel like he was just having this whole internal battle, and it was so unnecessary.
It really was. I'm sitting here, I'm like, I get y'all have a personal relationship out of this. What do I always say every time people end up bringing personal stuff? Take that shit out the game. Personal relationships should not factor in. Granted, Bessie tried to pull that on Josh in his face, saying, I meant to reevaluate our friendship like this. But hey, it's the price that Josh got to pay because he want to play both sides and do too much. But Josh needs to realize this shit is not personal. It's game. You should have had your ducks in a row prior, because at this point in the game, you're at the bottom of your own alliance in a sense too. So you are expendable at this point. Then people don't care. That's why Tori was like saying, I'm may put you in, contemplating it. Because at this point, she would rather run the final with Corey and Bessie. What's she gonna do in the final? Nothing. So at this point, just be quiet, compose yourself, and just let things play out the way they're supposed to be. But no, he had to just vomit out the mouth and just say a lot of things that he shouldn't have said. So that's the bet he got laying. And I was just like baffled the whole time. And it was just funny that Bananas was pissed at him because tweet laugh. I was like one of the tweets for later on, but it's like Bananas mad at somebody for crossing him. This is the same Bananas that did something to Sarah on Rival Street.
Oh, that bitch money.
Get out my mouth. Get out my face. Please. No, we're not doing this. But anyway, the elimination was a hall brawl. And this was Chanel and Cassidy. The time was come for that. And we ended up getting Josh versus Fessy. When Bananas got 5 votes in the hopper. And his thing was not pulled. Chanel got 5 votes in the hopper. Her name was pulled. And that one vote gives you a chance to get down in the sand. And it just happens that Josh's name was picked to go down the sand. But I don't. But also,
is it karma or is it production? Like, which one are we going here? Because I'm leaning towards more on it was production and not karma. I really can't really take that at like face value and say, oh my gosh, look at how the world works. Your grandfather was like, don't play with my name, and kind of threw you in. I don't buy it. You know, like I can't really buy that. But okay.
I'm happy for it now. Whatever it was, I'm grateful because great. Put them in there because it's like after all them dramatics that she was doing, crying about, oh, I don't want to say this is so and so and so and so, but you're the one that ended up going in anyway. That's the funny part.
This the one time it being rigged. If it was rigged for Bananas, I don't know. The one time it's rigged for him, I don't care because that man did the most. So it's just serendipitous. But I will say, because they did Hall Bro, they did a twist on it. I don't know how I feel about this twist, where like
I ain't liked it.
it was just like it wasn't as physical, and then the puzzle was the easy money. I'm like, I don't know.
I think
I
it
didn't
was
like it
adjusted because they knew Fessy was going in. So they knew Fessy was going to be a part of the Hall Brawl. I just feel like with Fessy being such a strong physical player and what happened with Nelson prior to being on a Hall Brawl and how Fessy has been, just such a physical play, you never know with him. Like, even though he's been tame this season, I feel like when it comes to a Hall Brawl, all bets are off. And he's the main person that's going to go in. So I kind of think it was tinkered a little bit just so that they have like a more even playing ground. Because all you have to do is just get past the first initial hit and then get to your puzzles. It's really not the keep going back and forth and how it usually is. So I don't know. I kind of feel like it was tinkered a little bit to adjust the players, but was it a great Hall Brawl? Not necessarily.
Fessy was mad at
I ain't
himself
like
on
it.
Twitter about it too. Like Fessy was mad. This is not a Hall Brawl. He was like, "This is not Hall Brawl." Like it isn't.
And he didn't
But
even. I wanted him to beat the shit out of Josh. I wanted him to run through him clean. But he was low-key struggling. I was like, okay, well, and then essentially I'm like, Josh, you should. In my mind, I thought Fessy was going to literally embarrass the fuck out of him. And it's like, yeah, Josh, you essentially are his size, and you might be a little bit bigger than him. But maybe not, because Josh done lost some weight. So I'm like, essentially, I was thinking because Josh is so darn touchy. I'm like, ain't no way he gonna be able to get through a Hall Brawl. But he was putting up a fight. Granted, why am I doing this? I'm giving him a little bit of credit, and I'm giving Tori credit tonight. Ugh, but that's I didn't like it. I wanted it to be like just head knucking the whole time, but no, they threw that puzzle at the end, which I thought the puzzle was kind of whack too, because it wasn't really something that was super tough. Like, it's supposed to be an equalizer at the end of the day, but as you saw, you can guess your way through it.
yeah, because even in the girls' heat of Chanel and Cassidy, Chanel was like, "Oh, I did this puzzle on my season. I know how to do this." Chanel, she got the first check wrong, but she had the second check right. Once she got past Cassidy, she was good. But once she got to her puzzle, she was good with that. And Cassie's on the way home. I just wish that would have been a physical one too. I get it, Cassie's small as well, but I just wanted them to go to bowls. Just for me. But I was like, it's on CBS and they want to keep things clean and cut. But come on.
Especially with the buildup of their rivalry, that would have been great. Like, let them just go at it. Because they was building up that rivalry the whole time. So it's like, yeah, let's we finally got them in elimination together. Let's let them just go at it, but no.
Yeah, it's kind of anticlimactic, but I'm glad Chanel prevailed, honestly, because now she gets to get to a final, beats out Cassidy, and kind of ends all that chatter with her and Cassidy in terms of who's better and what, kind of level out the playing field. Like, no, Cassidy, you can finally go home, think what you want to think, and you're not in the final. Sayonara.
And she got her win that she's so desperately been needing. Like, Chanel needed this win because, like, she's like, I've been trying to get a win, and she finally got it right when it matters. So she can go to that final with some confidence.
Yeah, and then after that first hit with Josh and Fessy, Josh was shook a little bit. He was, oh, hold on, I'm a little wobbly. But Fessy made it to his puzzle first. Tried to figure out. They were going back and forth with these wrong ass answers, and then Fessy's like, "I'm just going to start the guess number. I'm not going to look at it." And that's the second time this season he's done that. He did that once before with a puzzle, and I'm like, "All right, I know you're smart, but come on, use your brain." But he finally got the answer of 10 correct, and he won the donation. So Fessy is, I don't know what his record is of Hall Bros at this point. So he's prevailed again. Yeah.
I think that's all
What
he
I
does
will
in
say,
eliminations. I didn't even think about it.
what I will say with him guessing, because it was just funny. Michaela was like, "Well, he didn't even look at it. Like he literally just ran back, was playing
Right.
tag with the puzzle piece. He was just like, all right,
Yeah.
8, 7, 5, like literally just doing whatever." And I think I don't know if he can get away with this in the final, to be honest, just because I feel like more players will be more inclined in puzzles and shit like that. So it'll be harder for him to do this guessing game. But I will give him credit for even thinking of doing that and not just trying to stand there and guess and try to look at it and think about it and all, like, like do whatever you need to do to get the win. But I hope he realizes he can't do that in the final.
Because he probably gonna lose. Because you got Bananas and you got Chris. Corey's probably like he could possibly beat. But them other two, you're gonna have to be coming with something.
Yeah. So now it's time for the final, y'all. Of the group, I'm rooting for the core of Secret Garden that have prevailed, and Chris and Corey by proxy. Well, because Corey is due for a not second placement. I don't know if it's his time this season or not, but he's due for a win.
Yeah, in terms of the girls, all three of them, I'm just happy. Like you got, I was gonna say, well, they're the only black girls, but Tiffany. This is like history. I don't think we've ever seen this many black girls in a final. And then the 3 black girls that are in the final were the 3 black girls that teamed up on day 1 and got to the end together. And if I was to rank them in terms of who I wanted to win more coming into the season, I definitely wanted Desi to win more, considering how she lost the last time. Well, not even lost. She just couldn't do it because of her stupid ass partner Enzo. But watching the season, Michaela, I'm like, Michaela is she got my number 1 spot. Desi's like a strong number 2, and Chanel with 3. But either way, one of them girls winning is perfect.
I agree. I definitely am a fan of the 3 strongest girls, and Tori's in there too, but I'm talking about black people. The 3 strongest girls left in the house getting to a final and actually having a real serious chance of winning the final. I couldn't be happier in watching this season, how that played out, and them being able to stick together and get through it, through all of the people that were in that house, through all of the chaos that was happening, and the blind side and backstabbing and all the other stuff. Like, I just feel like they got through it and they're at the final. I'm rooting for Desi to still win just because, like you said, of how she was robbed last season of not being able to finish a final. I feel like Desi can truly get to win or like just have that moment because she doesn't have a partner that's holding her back. So she can really show off who she is in that moment. So I'm rooting for Desi to win. Michaela's a strong 2. I feel like Michaela came back with a fire under her ass after leaving that first week of that season. And she hasn't looked back since. So I love Michaela too. I hope she does well. Chanel, I'm glad that she's made it. Like, it was really touch and feel go for a while there. I was like, is Chanel gonna make it or not? Because she was just there. But she won an elimination. She's made it. Let's see how far she goes. Hopefully, I just hope Tori doesn't win, honestly. That's just who I'm rooting against because she just won 38. Like, you don't need to even to be here. So I'm rooting for Desi to win more than anything, but either 3 of them, I'm happy with the win. As for the guys, of course, I'm rooting for Chris. Everyone else, maybe fussy because he's been tolerable. And I feel like if he gets the opportunity to get a win, it'll kind of humble him a little bit more to the point where he can be able to be like, I'm a champ and I got that off my back. Like, once he gets the monkey off his back, I feel like he'll be a little bit more tolerable. because I feel like he keeps talking about 7-time champ. This person's a champ. Da 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 da. And it's just like you don't have any. So for his sake, if he can get that win and get that monkey off his back, I feel like it'll be a benefit to him moving forward in the challenge houses and things like that. But I'm rooting for Chris nonetheless.
I will push back a little bit on that Fessy note because I feel like he'll be a little bit more insufferable whenever he gets to win.
Because that man, because you saw how he did Mariah that season. I'm the reason why you here. Boy, let him get a win. We ain't never gonna hear the end of it, I feel.
Like, we already hear him crying every season, like, I have not made a final. If this man wins the season, we're not gonna hear it again. We're not gonna hear like, oh, I won one. Okay, then try and go do one more. I don't know if he can. Right. If he wins this final, I don't know if he can sustain coming in the game and winning again. It has to be the perfect group of finalists for him to try and beat people. I don't know if he can win in this group because he had a fighting chance against Chris, but I don't know because this of the guy that's really Chris, Fessy, Corey, Bananas. I'm not giving Bananas benefit of the doubt with the guys. I'm not. Because
he old now.
With the girls, Alicia, your first pick of the draft we had was Desi, and y'all have said everything. Y'all have said everything above that tier ranking of the ladies. I totally agree. Michaela's been my MVP this whole season. She overplayed her hand on her rookie season, but she's come back and rein that in and use her methods at the right times. So I'm glad to see her back and really killing it and conquering her fears. Hopefully there's no heights in this final either. Well, no, let's say no. Give her a heights part, but I don't want it to be a whole thing because she will prevail in that too. But yeah.
Yeah. And then I guess for my men, I'm rooting for Corey. I want Corey to win. I want him to get a win because he done been so close so many times, and he got them kids. The one kid I love me some Ryder. With them other two, I'm not even gonna say nothing because you can't talk about the kids. You can't talk about kids, especially when you ain't got none of your own. I ain't trying to jinx myself with them other two. I'm gonna just say whatever. But he got them 3 kids.
Screaming.
And I swear, and I know they brought 2 of them because Ryder got a condition too. And then the young one, bless her heart, she got a lot going on, and he needs the money to make sure she can get what she needs to get better. But that's all I'm gonna say before I say something too crazy.
Oh, weak. Yo, first of all, this is a pro Ryder podcast. I absolutely love Ryder, Cheyenne, her man, the son Ace. Like, love that family down. But I'm crying because the other 2 children, I don't know their names, and like you said, God bless them in their journey of life. You know, you make it. Yeah, I don't have anything else to say to them, but God bless.
Yeah, okay. And with that, we're going to move into some of the tweets from these last episodes that I pulled. The first tweet comes from Fessy himself saying, unpopular opinion, Josh would have won the final of the season if he made it there. I would stop you there. That is, you are delusional, Fessel. You are delusional. That man is not beating Chris. Okay? He's not. He's not beating you. He's not beating Bananas. He's not beating Corey. Stop it right there. You think that man's gonna beat you in the final? Be so for real.
You had to big him up, you know. He had to make him feel a little special.
You know, I love the hyping your friends and trying to gas them, but listen. Please. Let's live in reality here. We all know the truth.
Like, you just
For
beat
real.
a man in a hall brawl that was watered down. Be so for real.
I do want to. You know what I actually do? I don't want him to get in the final because I don't want him to be able to say he's been in one. But I want to watch Josh run the final and see how funny it is. Because I can see him gassing out halfway through it, especially if it's a two-day finals. Yeah, he ain't finishing it.
Now I'm blowing a Polly. He gonna pull a Polly. He gonna pull a Zach.
I don't think y'all had me on when I
Wes.
could talk about Polly. Y'all didn't have me on when I could talk about Polly.
No.
Polly,
Please share your thoughts because we will never talk about him again.
oh my God, the biggest letdown ever. Like, I was so excited that he was back because I'm like, he finally gonna come back, cause some drama, be a mess, be the Polly that we knew at one point. Come back and just like licking their ass and like crying about bananas, talking about how he's finally a challenge. I'm like, Carl Maria, you need to let that man go on about his business because that right there would have turned me all the way off. Like, what? You on TV acting like this?
With our ops? That's our ops you being friendly with. Come on now.
Not only being friendly, you like eating their ass crack at this point. Like, what are you doing? Begging for their forgiveness and begging for their like. These people don't care about you. He needs to never come back. They need to never call him again.
At least we'll see Kara next season. So she'll
I
bring
can't
us
wait.
the drama
When
that
are
we
they?
need.
They need to drop All Stars 4 like yesterday. I'm so ready for that.
I don't know why they're holding it in the vault. I hope that it does get released. Like, I don't know what's going on in terms of that show and what they're thinking, but we do need to see that. Like, I feel like
I
as
feel like
viewers, we need that season.
they holding it so long because it's gonna be that good. And I hope they edit it right. Like I feel like they need to give the show to Peacock. Peacock, they know how to edit their shows. But I feel like that's gonna be a crazy season whenever they finally drop it.
The mess will be there whenever it comes. But Kara was against folk in 39 when she popped up. That's gonna be funny.
It's gonna be very good to watch. I wasn't a big fan of Cara Maria when she first got on the show though. That's the thing. When she first got on the show, I was like, ugh, like all that whining and stuff. I can't do it. But Cara don't take no mess, and that's why I like her. And she ain't the type to fold. If she don't like you, she don't like you. And she stand on it, and that's why I like her. But I'm excited to see her and see what she been up to and how she been acting.
Wait, I do have a question. I know people on Twitter have been comparing Cassidy's treatment this season to Kara. Where is your stance on that?
It's not even the same. It's not even close to the same. People were throwing Cara Maria in because they knew Cara Maria was like a beast too. And Cara Maria, low key, I stand firm on saying that I don't feel like grown adults can get bullied. But to a certain degree, they was on her head for whatever reason. I don't know. It's not the same with Cassidy. Cassidy, you brought this shit on yourself, and you made yourself an easy target for them to continue to keep throwing you in. Completely two different levels.
I completely agree.
Yeah. Because we were like, oh, it's the same time in Kara. No, it's not. It's two different people, two different situations.
I feel like when Kara was coming up on the show, when Kara's seasons was airing, we lived in a different time. And I think that what you're saying, like Kara actually did get bullied on the show between Sarah and all these different people that was going at her head. Like she was actually getting bullied. And if it was coming out in this time, all of those people would get canceled. We wouldn't see none of this shit at all. So I think that Kara, what she had to endure in her seasons and actually prevailing and getting through those seasons, like major props to Kara. That's why I had respect for Kara always watching it, because she was literally going through the fire like every single time that she was on that show. As for Cassidy, this is like all self-inflicted and on a point, and it's also just woe is me. Like she's just adding on to it. It's not it's not true to the core of someone actually having attacked and people coming after her. Like, you're not that important. When I tell you these people was living in Kara's head rent fucking free every single time she was on this show, listen, if you have not watched it, please go back and watch some of those seasons where they were going at Kara to the complete core of her soul. Like, Kara was breaking down. So it's in no way a shape or form a comparison of what Cassidy has went through, what Kara had went through. Please, like, let's stop the revisionist history here.
And I'm gonna just say this alone. So this is where you know it's two different levels. Y'all remember on Free Agents when Kara broke her arm and they threw her ass in the elimination? I rest my case. Two different levels. Two different levels. They wanted that bitch gone, and they wanted to make sure that arm was broken even more. Two different levels.
This next tweet is Michaela really won 2 height challenges after crying from petrification. This is a legend in front of us. I give her 10s. But she really ate.
20s. Her 20s. Michaela's a girl.
The next tweet, it's not a season of the challenge if Josh isn't having a crying meltdown. And also, side note real quick, I wish we would have gotten Josh versus Fessy. We didn't see that clip either.
I thought it was Johnny
in the trailer?
Fessy.
No, they got in a fight too at one point.
And we didn't even see that Fessy and Johnny. We saw where Fessy was low-key eating Johnny up over that voting thing, but we didn't see that fight. That's what I can't stand about this new generation of editors. They'll put something in the trailer and we never see it on the show.
Yeah. That just pissed me off because it like took away from the context of certain things and they just created a different storyline. Like, you can just tell. But I mean, we've seen Josh versus Fessy before. Someone went home behind Josh versus Fessy. So I'm not interested in seeing these two go at it each other because they're going to fight. They're going to make up, you're my brother, boo-hoo, I love you, and move on. Like, it's the same old with these people. Every single time we see Josh, expect a meltdown, expect him to yell at a woman, expect him to do absolutely nothing and never get to a final. Like, these are the consistents with Josh. That's the one thing I can say is when I see him, I know exactly what I'm going to get every time he's on the show.
Yeah.
I blame that Sky woman because that she likes him so much. I'm like, you don't need that man on TV. I'm so sorry.
Ain't nothing about him entertaining. Nothing.
That's not last one. Michaela don't give a F. She aired Michelle out, eating her food in peace, and not breaking a sweat.
Where my dog's at? That's all I heard. I just heard Cheek say where my dog's at. We are like DMX was like, "You right here, dog." Like, when Michaela started barking and said, "Hit dog's gonna holler," and she looked at her and said, I said, "Oh shit!" Like, please, Michaela.
All while eating, literally,
eating twice, bro. Like, come on now.
This next tweet, Banana said, "Where I come from, you say something and you mean it. Sarah would like a word." And that's that. So I'm like, sure. You can mean it, and then you can stab someone in the front.
He likes to say that a lot, and he's just trying to make himself feel better, honestly. Like, we all know who you are. We've all seen it for the past 20 years at this point. Like, please. Like, he just does it to make him feel better and say, "I'll stab you in the front rather than the back." You're still getting stabbed. Either way. So, like, just don't try to sugarcoat it. It's ridiculous.
And then the last tweet. I had to figure out, this is the last tweet that I'm going to say. Michelle and Josh in the same boat. hiding behind the vets and not knowing they're expendable to them. And this is why I said at the beginning, Michelle and Josh are variants of one another. Because that's that.
That's true, and they both be crying. They both always cry. They both always have a meltdown. And they both end up getting eaten up every time they get into it with somebody. And they always lose before it's time to get to a final. They are the male and female version of each other.
Yep. And that's all the tweets from this week and last week.
Well, we've had a good time in terms of just recapping this. These were 2 good episodes that we actually had towards the end of the season, thank God. So now we get to the final. We'll see how it plays out in this next week. And then we have season 39 coming up. So it's just going to be a lot of more challenge content. But Grant will be back at some point again to talk more of the challenge with us. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you would like to follow us on Twitter, you can at Duel Alliance Pod. You can follow Megan at Megan Hines. You can follow myself at Ace_S5. And Grant, let the people know where they can follow you.
Twitter looking for GLOOKIN 4 G2Es. Where am I at? Instagram just GT 2Es. And then Grant LaShawn on YouTube. And that's it, I think.
And that'll all be in the description box below. So thank you guys for listening. If you want to watch this, you can watch us on YouTube at Duel Alliance Podcast. We'll be back next week to talk about the final of Challenge USA Season 2 on Paramount and CBS. Thank you guys for listening. Have a good week and bye.
Bye.